Okay, beautiful people, it's another lovely, lovely episode of your number one show on television, and that's none other than Flipside on independent television, reaching you live from the ancient city of Bronze. Yes, the city that I love to call the city where the king is truly king. Now, for starters, Flipside is one show that encourages, us to look at issues from different perspectives rather than just the stereotype. Okay, like they say, variety is the spice of life. So, the beauty of life is taking a look at issues from different angles. Else it becomes boring. My name is Harry Aigbo J, and of course, it's my pleasure to have you join me on this episode of the show. Now, for the record, I'm not alone. Of course, you know I never walk alone, despite the fact that I'm not a Liverpool fan. Of course, by the way, Liverpool just won the Premier League, right? Okay, so let's get started. We're discussing something quite interesting today, and it's something that has to do with politics. Yes, I'm quite aware that a lot of you out there are not too familiar with topics of this nature, but hey, I thought we should, do something along the lines of politics today. Okay, so we're just looking at youth participation in politics, gains and challenges. Yeah, that's what we're looking at today. First of all, it is no news that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, like they say, but how real, how true is that maxim in the light of today's world? So that's basically what we're looking at today. Youth participation in politics, the gains and challenges. And of course, to look at this topic with me are two amazing people. First, to my far left is someone who happens to be a political scientist. He's a politician, and he's also a youth, interestingly. Okay, so he has virtually all the answers to the questions that we're going to be asking as regards this topic today. So he goes by the name of Isosa Oviahon. I hope I got the pronunciation of your name right.
Thank you very much, Isosa Oviahon.
Thank you for being on the show. First of all, how has your day been?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay.
Give God the glory.
All right. You're going to be doing more introduction of yourself because I know that you're more than just Isosa Oviahon. But, for the record, that's his name, and whatever else you need to know about him is going to be saying it as we get along. Now, the only lady in the house, the only lady in the midst of gentlemen. Sometimes I happen to be the only guy in the midst of women, so the people say, blessed I am amongst women. But in this case, she's blessed amongst men. She goes by the name, first of all, she's my colleague. She goes by the name of Ahoy Davis. Good to have you in the house, Ahoy. Such a pleasure to have you on the show today, and we have a very interesting topic before us, and we're going to be examining it, one step at a time. Okay, so we're getting started with this first question, and that goes to you, Isosa Oviahon. Okay, first of all, what does political participation mean to you?
Well, as the phrase suggests, political participation. So
yeah.
it's the involvement of individuals in the political space. So, like I always say, or like people say, that man is a political animal.
Yeah.
So, everything we do daily, the moment you wake up till you go back to bed, is influenced by political decision. The clothes, for instance, you chose to put on this morning, I'm very sure and certain that this is not the only piece of clothing in your wardrobe.
True.
So something influenced the choice of you deciding to pick this piece of clothing. So likewise, every one of us. So by and large, everything we do is politics. The choices we make is politics. Something influences it. Something makes us go with option A rather than option B. Okay. So political participation for me is the involvement of persons, and there's no way we can avoid it.
There's no way we can. So it's part and parcel of us as humans, right?
Yes, as humans, as people, as a business person, as an individual, as a family unit, everything you do, there's politics everywhere. There's politics in the family, there's politics in the church, there's politics where you work, whether you like it or not. So A lot of persons make this mistake and say, I'm not political, but when they use that word, I'm apolitical. Your involvement with people, your
Makes you
association
political by-
with people is politics,
Okay.
because it's either you are being influenced or you are influencing
Influencing
others.
someone. So you're saying in a nutshell that politics is about influence?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Politics, ability to influence others,
Okay.
to go with your line of thoughts. That's why there are campaigns. Choose me instead of these other persons. That's what campaigns are all about. Okay. Choose me instead of
These other candidates.
the other man. But that should ordinarily, it's not just choose me. You will have to give me reasons,
okay.
Why you should be better than the other man. Like I said, in your choice of picking a clothing in the morning, you have your reasons. Now the discussion is within yourself now. Oh, maybe probably I wore this yesterday, I'm going to wear this tomorrow, I am going XYZ place, I think this is the best outfit. So those are the things now, the factors now influencing your final choice of the piece of clothing to pick. So also when people want, say, choose party A instead of party B, there should be reasons, indices, things, factors that should make me choose you over the other person. And I think by and large, that's what we are basically lacking in our political space today in Nigeria.
Interesting. Now, Ehoy, a lot of times when the word politics is mentioned, the first thing that comes to some people's minds is, negativity. So when you say someone is playing politics, for instance, the impression you're giving is that the person is probably, trying to manipulate someone or trying to be smart. Why is that? Why do you think people, tend to have a negative notion every time the word politics is mentioned?
Okay, first of all, the word political participation is you engaging in activities that shape decisions that shape the society.
Okay.
Either by voting or by protesting or educating citizens on their rights.
Okay.
Now, this word politics, we all have this mentality that politics is a dirty game.
Yeah.
To me, politics is not actually a dirty game. It depends on how you play your card. For me, I feel you being honest. There are some persons that will come today, some leaders that be like, okay, when you vote for me, I'll build 79 roads in one street. They'll make promises upon promises. But it is how you fulfill those promises that matters and determines if you are credible as an individual. And when you get there, yes, there is this power that comes with politics when you're there, even if you made a promise that, okay.
And you had good intentions from the start.
Yes, you have that good intention. There is this spirit that comes with it that you would definitely break the rule.
Definitely?
You would definitely break the rule. Some will say, okay, when I get there, I'm not going to steal funds. I will use the funds judiciously to help the community, to help the state. But when you get there, you find a different you entirely. So there's this tendency of you falling aside, like
compromising somewhere along the line.
Compromising. You won't want to do what the people want, but you first, that's yourself. Taste will come. You want to satisfy yourself first. You want to put yourself first before putting the people into the picture.
Politics being a dirty game.
Yeah, some spirit. Yeah, I was particularly interested in the part where you said some sort of spirit just comes on people who had good intentions from the beginning, but somewhere along the line they begin to exhibit certain other traits that were never part of the plan from the beginning, right?
True.
So I want to know, what spirit is it? And this question is not going to you, Ekoy, because I know you're going to take us further into the spirit realm. But Isosa, what do you think that spirit is? What is that factor that tends to change people from good to bad in the political journey?
Well, there's no spirit anyway. It is just the political platform.
Okay.
Or what we call the political vehicle. You see, political parties are supposed to have distinct manifestos, like this is what they are known for. This is what they want to do. This is what they want to achieve.
An agenda.
An agenda. So, ordinarily, politicians or people who aspire for political positions or leadership, we have to look through the different manifestos of the different political parties. So see the one whose interests, who aligns with theirs.
Yeah, whose manifesto is in line with
exactly with what they want to achieve, with what they want to do for the people. So, not to go too far into it, what we call spirit, that this person had good intention, he promised heaven and earth, he got in there, at the end of the day they cannot achieve anything. It's because of the way the political parties are set up. You get into office and then you now realize that you have to oil the
palms.
They say they call it structures.
Structures, okay.
Political structure, you have to oil it.
The big wigs in the party.
Exactly, you have to settle, you have to, we can see what's happening in some states of the Federation today, the fighting between godfathers and
their god boys.
Successors. So that's it, that's what leads to this miscarriage of promises. And I think one way we can address that issue is when we begin to have properly outlined manifestos. If you look at our political parties today, you can hardly make a clear distinction between A, B, C, or whatever. So that's why it's even easy for them to jump ship. So they just see the party as a vehicle, as
a moving train.
As a vehicle to obtain power. They are not really interested in what does this party have to offer, what is this party standing for, what is it known for. So, and it's a general knowledge that no matter how, it's better to have strong institutions than strong men. Because no matter how strong the man is, if this institution is weak, one day the man will live there. Okay. You understand me? So when you have strong institutions, even if the intent and purpose of the man is not even pure, but when it comes into office, because of that strong institution, I'm talking of the political party now,
platform,
insisting that this is our manifesto as a political party, this is what we promise the people, and this is what must happen.
You must work in line with the manifesto of the party.
That way there will be no spirit.
There will be no spirit. We actually
so are you saying that when people get into power, they are not power drunk?
Yes, to a large extent they are. There's this saying that the only way to know the true character of a man is
when he's entrusted with power.
Yeah. Okay. Give him wealth, give him money. But when you have a party, a structure that is that has a clear
cut.
Intent. Direction where they want to go to. No matter how power drunk the political office holder is, the party is supreme. That's what you hear our politicians.
So the party's responsibility is to call such a candidate to order.
Yes, this is what you should be doing. This is what you must. This is what you must do. This is what you must do. This is what we promised the people, and we have to achieve this thing. So that way, that's why I mentioned strong institutions better than strong individuals.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, we really do wish that we had such institutions, because in this part of the world, in this climate, we tend to see individuals wielding more power, or seemingly wielding more power than institutions. And where individuals are stronger than institutions, you can only imagine what will happen to the people. It's inevitable. All right, Ekoy Davis, I would like to ask you this question. Based on your observation, do you think young people of this generation are showing enough interest in politics, in the light of much of what he has said so far?
Okay, the truth is, there is this saying that we are the leaders of tomorrow, and I'm yet to see that tomorrow
a tomorrow that never seems to
come. Okay, the reason why most youths, let me say 90% of youths do not have this interest in politics. One, when we as individuals, when we go out to vote, exercise our franchise, there is this feeling we always have that what is the point after voting? It is who they want in that seat.
Because it's like the same old same, nothing changes.
Yes, it's like a recurring decimal.
True.
So imagine a vibrant youth like me, I want to go into politics, and I put all these things in check, and I'm like, okay, what is the chance that when I get there, I'll be given the chance to actually rule? So when a youth thinks about all these things, that it's like it's the highest bidder that wins the prize.
Yeah.
What if I don't have the resources to push my dreams further? What's going to be my faith? That thing gradually kills my dreams. It kills my aspirations. I'll be like, instead of going into politics, why not just go and open one shop or one business or have girls learn under me and stuff like that? So activities like that really kills the dreams of a vibrant youth. Yeah.
Oh, that's really sad. It's really, really sad. Now, a lot of times when we hear the term participation, especially as regards politics, people have different notions. It sparks different things in different people's heads. Okay, so how would you define political participation? What healthy ways can young people participate in politics? For example, some persons think that thuggery is political participation. So what's your take on that, Isosa?
Well, political participation, when you ask a lot of persons, they see it as having a PVC and showing up on election day to vote.
But isn't that part of it?
It's part of it, but
there's more to it than that.
Participation, it goes beyond that.
It goes beyond that, okay.
Now, the political participation that should be encouraged in Nigeria is active participation. Now, I talked about strong institutions, that's the political parties. As we speak today, the Nigeria Electoral Act does not provide room for independent candidacy. So what
does
means,
that imply? It means you cannot, aspire for any office.
What it means is that as we speak today, you cannot contest election without a political party.
Okay.
There is no room for now. It might change in the nearest future, but for now, there is no room for independent candidacy. So what it means is that
sorry to interrupt. Is that peculiar to Nigeria, or it's obtainable in other parts of the world?
Yeah, in the United States of America, you can have independent candidates.
Yes,
without you being in a party.
Yes, although it's not so popular because it has its own advantages and disadvantages. How do you sponsor yourself, campaign, and all that? In some countries, independent candidacy is allowed, but in Nigeria, for now, we don't have that. So you have to go through a political party. So what that means is that if you must aspire for political leadership, you have to belong to a political party. Now, where young people miss it is that we tend to shy away from the political process, that is, involving ourselves in political parties. We wait till the end. See, election day is the end. Is the end of the whole process.
Okay.
Yes, because it's the political party, it's the people inside the political party that determines who the candidates you'll be voting for.
Okay.
So when you come out on election day to cast your vote for any party or any individual, you are coming to affirm the decisions of some persons,
individuals,
what they've done, who have done their primaries.
The fate of the
yes. So part of the challenges we are having is that, if not until recently, where we kind of we are now having some options, like other parties having. Okay, I think this is. Before now, the reason why a lot of people don't come out to vote on election day is because they cannot distinguish between candidates A and B. I don't know whether you understand me. It's more or less like you have to go out on election day to choose between the two lesser evil. This one is bad, this one is bad. I'm using that word now, like contextually in people's mind. This one is bad, this one is bad. Let me go and choose.
Because you have to choose, you have to settle for the one.
You just have to choose because the parties are presented them. Well, if young people infiltrate, I'm using that word deliberately, if we infiltrate, let me give you some stats that are really interesting. You see, in Nigeria today, they say we have approximately 218 million people. Now, 41% of that population is between 0 and 15. So you see, those are the young people, they are not participating. The next demographic that is high is the voting age. Let's peg it at 18 and 40. Let's just, even though we know 45 is still a youth, but let's just say between 18 and 40.
So that's like the most active.
Exactly. You know that rough estimate put that figure at over 75 million people, that is young people, between 18 and 40. Now the question is, the INEC register, what's the figure in the INEC register? I don't think it's, if my memory serves me right, it's not up to 100 million, I think around 90-something million. INEC register, that's including those from above 40, from 18 to whatever. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. So what it means is that if young people between the ages of 18 and 40, 75 million infiltrate political parties. I'm not saying go to this particular party. I am saying the truth is there is no party that is bad.
Okay, so it's the individuals.
It's the people running the party, the people inside the party. So if young people infiltrate these political parties, you can't change a system from outside. You have to be within a system to make changes. It might look difficult, but when you are inside, gradually, you'll be making changes. Now, the interesting thing about politics is that, or governance, is that there's no room for vacuum. If you don't participate, it will still happen. Things will still go on. So you still have the same people, the same set of persons making the decisions and running the system. So when you show up on election day to come and cast your vote and feel that you have done
noble.
Yes. Well, you have, to a large extent, to some extent, you have done well, but you can do better by going into the process right from the beginning. Now, as we know today now, we have three major political parties, so to say, in Nigeria. If these three parties field credible, when I mean credible, sound candidates, Party ABC, they have sound intellectuals and credible candidates. There will be no toggery.
Okay.
A credible candidate that has integrity will not form toggery. I don't know whether you understand me. So you will remove violence from the system. Then also the stake, the do or die approach will reduce. Then even as electorate, we will not be so bothered about the outcomes. When you know that the three top candidates, they are good.
Okay.
Their manifestos are superb. They mean well for the nation or the state, depending on the level of the election. Yeah. Whoever wins, you know that the state or the country will be better. But that can only be achieved when young people go into political parties and try as much as possible to engineer it from the beginning. One thing young people must know is that nobody will hand it over to you on a platter of gold.
Okay, so you must go get it.
You must go get it.
All right, thank you so much. You've actually said a whole lot, and much of what you've said, borders on political apathy on the part of young people. Yes. Now let's begin to look at the factors responsible for this nonchalant attitude, if you like, or lackadaisical attitude towards politics. Like she said much earlier, it's a popular maxim that politics is a dirty game. I think I started hearing that term, as far back as when I was in primary school, right? My elder brother studied political science, so I think he was the first person that used to say such things, like, oh, politics is a dirty game. I didn't quite understand until I came of age. And then I began to see things for myself. I began to see reasons why, a lot of young people seem to be shying away from politics. Now let's begin to examine some of these factors. Just recently, a bigwig, a political bigwig, a former governor of a state, decamped from the opposition to the ruling party. Now that has been, stirring up lots of controversies, especially in the media space, and a lot of persons have been giving hot takes on that. Now, what do you think that portends for young people with good intentions? There are lots of young people who want to. Echo, this question actually goes to you. There are lots of young people. You've actually, pointed out the fact that there are so many young people with good intentions. Like you, for example, in the last election, you exercised your suffrage, your franchise, right? By getting your PVC and going out to vote. But because of the recurring decimal, nothing seems to be changing. So it seems like a roller coaster, the same old same. Now, what don't you think these occurrences, these developments, these blatant expression of, I don't know whether to call it lawlessness or indiscipline. Imagine someone being in one party in 1 minute, the next minute you're in a different party entirely. How do you think that affects the young people with good intentions who would want to, infiltrate these parties, like he said, and try to change things inside out?
Okay, it's like I said earlier on, it's definitely going to make you lose interest. And if you check in our society today, we have most of our leaders, they're actually old men. So now the question of how are we the leaders of tomorrow? Like, when are they going to really give us that chance to rule? So for me, that act alone of the campaign from one party to another is definitely going to make you as a youth lose interest. You'll be like, okay, what's really the point? And another thing, we live in a world where money speaks.
Okay.
Money is actually louder than the voice of people. So if I, as a youth, actually have the intentions of ruling a country or a state or my constituency,
in whatever capacity.
Yes, and I don't have the funds to push my dreams. I do not have people backing me up. I'm just coming as a one-man squad without anything. I'm just hoping that, oh God, you just come down from heaven and let your will be done. Trust me, it's not going to work.
It's going to be, you living in a fool's paradise.
Yes, because there is this saying, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready to spend, you're definitely not going anywhere. So that's my take on it.
Interesting. That actually opens our eyes to another very interesting angle to this conversation, money politics. So that actually brings me to the issue of godfatherism, which is one of the major problems, one of the cankerworms, so to speak, eating up our political system. Today, we have situations where someone handpicks a candidate, for a particular position. And then, of course, all seems to be going well, like it's all rosy at first. And then at some point, there's a fallout. The godson becomes unanswerable to the godfather. And then before you know it, there is, a serious tussle, which begins to impact negatively, not just on the party, but on the people. So let's examine this thoroughly. How do you strike a balance between support and loyalty to some sort of godfather?
All right, thank you very much. Please permit me, before I go into that, let me address the issue of politics being dirty. It's a general saying. People say it when you tell people you are into politics, they look at you and say, are you sure you are still a lover of God, are you still a Christian and all that? Well, if you say politics is dirty, then business is dirty.
Why would you say that?
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Because the things that happen in politics happen in business. If you are not careful, people do deals and they
Shady
kill,
deals.
yeah, shady deals. They kill each other and all that. Now, what that means, why I have to bring that in,
Yeah.
is that it is not politics that is dirty. It's the people, the kind of people we've left.
To run the
Yeah,
affairs.
to people who are desperate, people who are career politicians. You see, somebody, he has no other address, like he has no other thing doing. He's
Yeah.
a career politician.
I was going to ask that because some persons pride themselves in being politicians. So
Yes.
is politics a profession?
Yeah, ordinarily, it ought not to be a profession.
Okay.
You see, politics is like, let me give an example. When you are in school, a student, maybe in a higher institution, your main purpose of being a student
Preoccupation, yeah.
is to study. Now, but it is, when you get into the university, they will tell you that don't just pass through this university. Let the
Let it
university
pass
also
through
pass
you.
through you.
Yeah.
You understand? So they encourage you to engage in extracurricular activities, maybe like sport, maybe like student unionism.
For your
and
total
all that.
development.
Good. That is how politics ought to be. Come into politics with a mind that I want to contribute to the development of my state, of my nation. I want to bring my intellect. I want to bring my ideas. You understand? See, it's not a must that you go into politics or you join a political party and contest. That is not the hallmark.
But that seems to be everyone's aspiration.
It does. That's the greed. Permit me to use that. That is, you are doing it for your own self-interest. There are so many ways you can contribute. I am not saying that contesting is wrong.
Okay.
If you are not ready
If you're
financially,
Or if you're not qualified.
no,
Okay.
not that you are not qualified.
Financial
If you are not
readiness.
ready financially, you looked at it. I do not have the financial muscle
Capacity, okay.
to contest for this position.
Are you ruling out the need, to solicit for financial support?
I am not really not soliciting for financial support, but I am saying that if you need 100 naira to contest a position, at least you should have 40 to 50 naira.
But are you aware that no matter how much you have in your account, it's still not enough?
That's what
Yeah.
I just said. You
Okay.
should have
It's
40 to 50 naira.
Okay,
at
a
least.
substantial amount.
A substantial amount.
Okay.
Then you can now bank on the goodwill of friends, of
Okay.
well-meaning
Not
individuals.
godfathers.
Not
Yes, that's when we're
godfathers.
getting it wrong. In the United States of America, for example, people, ordinary people, when I mean ordinary people, ordinary citizens fund the political process. They fund candidates. Now, this is because the candidates have manifestos, ideas, policies. Now, when they bring it out to the open, those who key into it, who see it as a workable project or something that is meaningful that will lead to the development or the advancement of the country, they support, no matter how little. Now,
Okay.
imagine if you are contesting for president, for instance, of Nigeria, and 40 million people, I'm not talking about 40 million people, decide to support you with 10,000 naira each, for instance.
You're talking of, ordinary people,
Ordinary
like
people.
random
Like kind
individuals.
Nigerians.
Yes, ordinary people. So that is where we should be getting to. Not,
Okay, so if I'm getting you correctly, you are pro support,
yes.
right? Pro
Yes.
financial support for
Yes.
random people,
Yes, but not
godfatherism.
Godfatherism is like an investment.
But
If-
how many
if-
persons are genuinely going to help? Like some persons, they don't just render help without expecting
Just like
anything
they
in
say that,
return.
politics becomes their source of livelihood.
Livelihood.
Now, I also try to understand, I also try to corroborate what you said by adding that some don't even have an educational background.
Yes.
Now let's begin to examine the educational factor. What role does education play in preparing the youth for political participation? Because it seems to me that you cannot separate education from politics, because you're dealing with enlightened people as well. So like the adage says, you can't give what you don't have. So you've got to be educated to be able to relate with educated people. So what role do you think education plays? Because we've seen several instances of people in politics who barely know their right from their left. They don't even know what it means to, I'm not just talking of rulership now. I'm talking of understanding the dividends of democracy, for example. And you have to be enlightened to know this. So what role do you think education plays in preparing the minds of young people, to take on the onerous task of political participation?
Okay, first, education gives you the privilege to know your rights as a citizen, and it sharpens your critical thinking by means of debates. You can analyze so many things in politics, and it also serves as a means of self-empowerment.
Okay.
Self-empowerment in the sense that whether you are in the political system or not, at least you have a skill, just like what he said. You should have something doing, and you can't achieve that without being educated.
Yeah.
It's just like you saying, okay, I want to be a lawyer, and you never studied law in school. How are you going to do it? So you need education to broaden your thinking. Like really, you need education to know what you are venturing into. And for the skill acquisition, you need education as well to go into that field, because whether you like it or not, we need education one way or the other. Some persons will say school na scam. School is not actually a scam, because this same person saying school na scam, they can't actually express themselves in public when the need arises. Imagine you engaging an individual in public, and the person starts to stammer and
Stutter.
Yes, repeat one particular word over and over again. It shows the level of the person's education, that the person is not enlightened. So that's my take on that.
Okay, now there is also the political age, like they say, right? And I mean that in two ways. There is the age you're supposed to attain before you can aspire for a political office. And of course, there's also the age for voting, the voting age. Now, let's look at it as it concerns us in Nigeria. Do you think the voting age, for example, should be increased or reduced? And do you also think the age that has been, set as a benchmark for aspirants to political offices is good enough? Should it be reduced, or should it be?
Well, thank you very much for that question. For the voting age, I think what it is now, the age of 18, is okay. There's nothing wrong with it, because at 18 you should be able to analyze critically, you should be able to make decisions.
Informed decisions.
Yes, that will, one way or the other, help you. For the age restriction on for seeking certain political
aspirations,
offices, I think, in my humble view, I don't know, but for me personally, it's a disservice to us as a people and also as a nation.
We're having a very interesting conversation today, something that has to do with politics and the participation of the youth. Okay, now my guests have actually been doing justice to this topic, and of course the last question I asked had to do with education, the role of education in ensuring increased participation in politics. Now,
age restriction also.
Yeah, of course, yeah, I thank you very much for that reminder. Yeah, we're also talking about age restriction, especially as regards voting and of course aspiring for certain political offices. Now, let's begin to examine some other things, such as the involvement of family members. Okay, so what roles do you think families, schools, and communities can play, to encourage political participation amongst young people?
You see, leadership begins from the home.
Okay.
The home is the most important unit
of
the society. Everybody comes from a home. So
could that be the reason they say it's the bedrock of socialization?
Exactly. So the leaders we have today now, whether good or bad, they all came
from a home.
So it's high time our parents were unable to achieve much. When I mean achieve much, they probably were not so vocal, they didn't participate the way they should have. They should now see it as a point of duty to encourage their children, the young ones, to go into politics and participate fully. I understand the fears, the concerns, like they will always say, the dirty nature of politics.
Yeah.
Some people will even say it's diabolical, they use powers and all that. But the truth is, you won't say because accidents happen on the road, you will start plying the road or entering vehicles. So encourage your young ones, encourage your children to go into politics, but in a more matured way. Okay. You see, when you are not violent, it's very difficult, or the chances of violence happening to you is
reduced.
Yes, it's reduced.
Okay.
When somebody somebody reacts to you violently and you maintain your cool, you understand me? And instead of the person you responding violently, you speak calmly, more maturely.
So that douses the tension.
Exactly. But when somebody approaches you violently and you respond violently, so there's every tendency for it to go overboard. Okay. Before we went on the break, I was saying something on the disservice of the age restriction. You see, for me personally, if there should be anything about age restriction, it should be an age cap. It should be a cap.
What does that mean? That there's an age you'll get to,
yes,
and you should retire from politics.
Exactly.
Step aside. Okay.
Yes, not saying that a 30-year-old cannot aspire to be governor or president of this country. If Gowon became head of state at early 30s, in his early 30s, so why, when you find a 30-year-old that is ready for leadership, that has the capacity, so why restrict him that he has to wait, that he cannot contest? If there must be any age restriction, it should be a cap. Because before my father of blessed memory passed, he was 78, in his late 70s. So relating with him at that age, I could see that the way he was now reasoning things and behaving is quite different from how he performed where he was quite younger. But today you have 80-year-old men in their 70s,
still in the system,
70 plus, even while we know they are older than that, using according to their official age or whatever age, they are in their 70s running the country. So how do you want them to make the best of decisions for the betterment of the country? Then the issue of education. You see, Nigeria is a funny place. For you to get a job somewhere, in any organization, any reputable company today, you have to have gone through the 4 walls of the university. Even now, your bachelor's is not even enough. You need to have maybe 2nd or 3rd degree. But interestingly, Nigeria, what you need to rule or lead or aspire for political position in this country is your secondary school leaving certificate. Is that not funny?
It's actually an embarrassment.
So you now have people who cannot discuss policies. Majorly, the problem with Nigeria is policy. There are policy issues. People who you quote statistics for, and they ask you, "Now statistics will go chop." So it is very clear that education is not a problem in Nigeria. We are highly educated all over the world. Wherever you go, Nigerians are highly educated. But the challenge is that we live our best. Our system has a way of sidelining our best away and projecting the very worst of us. So that somebody has a school certificate, is a senator. What laws is he going to make? What does he know about the lawmaking process? What does he know about policies? What does he know about policies? So you now see a senator, you are asking a senator after 4 years or 8 years, you're asking him, "Sir, what was your achievement?" And he's pointing to, "I brought transformer to so and so place, I did this so and so road, I did the health center." That's not the job of a lawmaker. Okay. You are supposed to be telling us the policies you brought about, you influence, and other things.
Thank you so much, Isosa. You've actually, analyzed that extensively. Now, as we begin to wrap up now, in the light of what you've said so far, I wouldn't want this to be a prophecy of doom of some sort, okay? Like they say, there could also be some sort of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
So, in the light of what you've said so far, what future do you see for the youth as far as, political participation is concerned? Do you think we have a bright future? Like they say, the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Do you see a future where young people will be more active in politics?
Okay. Do you want my honest truth?
Yes, honestly.
The honest truth is, I don't see a hope for the youth. Because one, our leaders are not even willing to give us that chance.
Okay.
Because we can keep lying to ourselves, we can keep deceiving ourselves that we are the leaders of tomorrow, but the reality is they are not going to give us that chance.
Okay.
Because that seat is too sweet for them to leave because of the benefits they're getting.
Okay.
So they would not want you to even have a taste
of it. So what's your advice for young people who are aspiring to one political office or the other, maybe in the nearest future?
If you have the money to chase your dreams, you can go ahead. But if you're banking on the faith of good Nigerians to support you, or just relying on God's divine intervention, I would advise that you go set up a business of your own.
All right.
And forge ahead.
Anyways, that's for those who probably have some sort of business inclination, right?
Yeah.
Now, Isosa, what's your final thought on this?
Well,
in less than a minute, if possible.
Yeah. It is true that the current crop of leaders, they are not going to get up from that seat without a fight. Like I said it before, you're not going to expect them to hand it over
to you on the platter.
So you have to go for it. So my advice to young people like me is simple. You don't need money to join a political party.
Seriously?
First and foremost, join a political party. Join political movements.
Okay.
Join political groups.
Okay.
Be aware politically. Involve yourself in political campaigns. Very important. That's how you gather exposure and experience. So involve yourself fully. Forget about the leaders. They will phase out gradually. By the time we'll be, and I'm happy, it's already happening. If you judge from after 2020, the NSAS movement and all that, you will see that there is a big spike in level of awareness amongst the young people.
Okay.
So gradually we are becoming aware that we cannot leave this country in the hands of these old people.
Okay.
We have to deliberately. You know why? Because in 10, 15 years, they will be gone. You and I will be here reaping whatever they did, whether good or bad.
Okay.
So we can't fold our hands and just be watching. Join the process. belong to a political party. Be a card-carrying member. I'm not going to tell you where to belong. Look at where you feel you can fit into. Belong. Okay. Participate gradually. Now, people can even see your level of participation. The issue of money and all that. People can see you and say, ah, man, you're good. We think you have something to offer. We'll support you.
All right. So, thank you so much. I actually do wish we had more time. Time is never our friend on this program. I want to say a very big thank you to my guests, Isosa Viahon, sorry. I mean, don't worry, I'll eventually get used to that. Thank you so much. You've actually done justice to this topic, and I hope that the next time I call on you, you'd oblige me.
Definitely.
And of course, to my colleague and friend, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really do appreciate it. All right, it's been Flipside on Independent Television, and we'll be taking a look at political participation, the gains and the challenges. I hope my guests have actually opened your eyes to some of the things that you need to understand about young people and their participation in politics. Now, Flipside has been an amazing experience for me today, and I'm sure it's pretty much the same thing for my guests and those of you out there. My name is Harry Aigboje, and until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, do ensure you do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and have yourself a beautiful day ahead. Bye for now.